Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Thursday's edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Boomstick XL, and we have an outstanding panel. We have a ton of original written content and some late-breaking topics that are going to fill a 2-hour show for the nation known as Xbox Nation. So let's get right into, of course, the introductions on the panel. Now, you know him. He's my co-host with the co-most, and he's also someone that I consider to bring a lot to the table each and every episode that he is on. Please welcome Zemi Games.
But can it play Crysis?
I don't know. You might be able to.
I love that saying. It always cracks me up. But yeah, I'm just super excited to be here. Last Tuesday was a fantastic show. All those topics were just absolutely fire. Some might say they were bangers, but
yes.
But yeah, just super excited to be here. Can't wait to jump in and start talking about all these amazing topics you have lined up for us, man.
No, thanks so much for being here. Next up, you know him as the best bot in the community. I know him as Kid Smooth. I also know him as a very good friend. Please welcome Kid Smooth. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's up, Boom, man? How you doing? Thank you for having me. Like I said, I try to catch your shows as much. Like you're live so often, but I'm doing good, man. I am doing good. Happy to be here.
You listen, you've been knocking it out of the park with your show. Talk about that for a quick second, so people get to know, because a lot of people may or may not know about your show.
Sorry, my mic was acting stupid. So you're referring to Planet Xbox? Or...
Yes, Planet Xbox,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, I do a podcast, Planet Xbox. I've done it before a couple times. I'm trying to remain consistent with podcasting, but we did Planet Xbox. That went well for a little while, and then we suspended it for a little bit, and I bought it back. I want to say in January. We just did episode 11 yesterday. That comes on every Wednesday, be at like 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It's me, D-Nick, Def Grips, Coke Boy J, and Chris Righteous, who's our like resident PlayStation guy. But yeah, it's a show dedicated to Xbox. I'm an Xbox fan. I'm sure we talk multi-plat stuff and some PlayStation stuff because it's politics. We have to do it. But yes, it's like it's just a platform where I can just gloat and talk and discuss everything Xbox. But yeah, check it out. It's on my channel every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And of course, the show is always open to guests. No one has approached me ever to come on, but it's open to guests.
Well, I definitely got to make an appearance on there for sure. There's definitely no doubt about that. So we'll talk privately, and we'll try and set that up, because there are very few Xbox shows that are dedicated to the platform. So the more people that know about the shows that that I listen to, that I would accredit as being worthy of listening to, the better. And I think that you have one of those shows, and I think that it's fun. Your show is a lot of fun, and I think more people should get ears and eyes on that. And making his return appearance all the way from Germany, please welcome Archimedes.
What's up, Boom? Thank you for having me again. I'm excited to be here. We have some fantastic topics, and so let's get right started.
Okay, you know what? I want to do something. I want to do a little something off the top, or off the cusp, if you will, that was brought to my attention very, very late last night, and I thought it was a fun and interesting way to kind of just open up the show. Last night on Twitter, I was DM'd, or actually was actually tagged in a tweet that was referring to 7 NES games that are now available on the Xbox. Yep, that's right. You heard me. 7 classic NES games are currently available to buy for $4.99 a piece on Xbox Live, and I have bought 6 of the 7 of them. And you know what's even more crazy is that they all have 1,000 achievement points with them. Each game has 10 100-point achievements, and I'm going to give you a quick list that I'm going to blow some minds here. First of all, you have Double Dragon, the original. Then you have Crashing the Boys Street Challenge. Now, that's the one I didn't buy, and I'm an old as dirt, and I don't remember that on the NES, so I didn't buy that one. Then they have Double Dragon 2 and 3, or 3 being the Sacred Stones, Double Dragon 2 being the Revenge, and then they have River City Ransom, which is a classic title. Then they have Renegade, and last but not least was Super Dodgeball. Now, I don't know how many people even remember these games, and it's funny because I'm going to bring Zemi into the conversation because
none of them.
Zemi is a little younger than I am. And I say little by being half my age. So when I asked him about it, he was like, listen, Boom, I'm going to be honest with you. Go ahead and tell us your story, my friend.
I haven't heard of one of those games. And I have just count me out of this entire conversation. I have no idea what any of those games are. I don't know if they're platformers. I mean,
they're side-scrolling beat-em-ups is what they are.
Okay, then I really have no idea. Yeah.
Well, look, I'll put it this way. If you are like Zemi and you're young, which is great. If you're young, good on you. You're going to live longer, and hopefully you see flying cars before I do. But at least this is an opportunity for you, Zemi, to drop down $5 and take my advice and play Double Dragon and get those 1,000-point achievements. Kid Smooth, let me bring you in on this conversation. This was an unusual drop. I did not see this coming. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Now, Arc System Works, we know. They make some fantastic hand-drawn fighting games, and they're the ones that are responsible for bringing these to the Xbox. And like I said, this was like a stealth drop. Do you yourself recall playing any of these games, and would you consider playing any of these classic games, dropping down $5?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I have a couple of. Are these the things that do? And I could be wrong. Is this like the Neo Geo like classics and stuff like that? Yeah. Yep. I have a couple of them like installed. I didn't know about the shadow drop that you're talking about, so I got to check that out. Like you said with Double Dragon and stuff like that, I didn't realize that happened. But yeah, no, I would consider it, especially if the achievements are easier. Remember, back in the day, they didn't have achievements. So
no, and it's funny. That's why I had asked somebody. I said, "Does this have achievements?" Because that's going to be the contributing factor. I'm not going to play through Double Dragon from 1986 if there's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they actually all have 1,000-point achievements. I think it's really cool. I think they're going to be. If you enjoy the classics, this might be for you. So this is not a big topic. I figured it would be something fun to start the show. Archimedes, let me get your opinion on this. Obviously, you're always talking about your kids. Now, your kids are still a little bit too small, I think, to play and understand. Gaming. Maybe like the Switch or something they would, but like the controller in their hands. My nephew didn't start really getting the hang of it until he was around 4-ish, 5. And your kids are still young. But for you, do any of these classic titles like Double Dragon and Super Dodgeball and River City Ransom ring any bells for you?
Oh, Double Dragon absolutely does. The other ones, not so much, to be honest. I didn't own an NES until I was, I don't know, 20 or something, when I started to buy some of these old consoles I missed. My first gaming system I had was the OG Game Boy, and after that came the Super Nintendo, and from on there I had basically every console. I bought an NES a little later. I don't know, at the year 2000, something like that. And I bought Double Dragon. I really enjoyed that game, and I didn't know about that stealth drop. I will definitely look into that and get that game again.
Yeah, we gotta welcome in someone that enjoys classic games. In fact, someone that enjoys who has an actual show. Our good friend, Graphic God. You know him as Jay. He has obviously Retroed Renegades, which is on weekly, and I think that he himself is probably going to purchase these games. $5 a piece is great, and having 1,000-point achievements per game is not a bad thing. But you know what? Again, if you're interested, you can go on to Xbox Live. As a matter of fact, I even suggest go to Twitter and type in Major Nelson's name and you'll see he has a press junket where he talks about each particular game and the price. They're all $5 a piece. There's a total of 7 of them. I hope that this is just the first round. We start getting some classic games like that, because again, if you're from the old school like I am, you appreciate seeing where you came from and where you're currently at, and it's fun. It's fun to see what we used to think was the greatest things in sliced bread are now considered to be like dots and sticks moving around on a screen. So real quick, before I move on to one of the main topics, I have to welcome in and thank Gotham Guy with the outstanding and very generous $10 super chat. And he says this: good morning, everyone. Great start to the show. And Zemi, shame on you for not knowing Double Dragon. The game is the holy grail of 2-player side-scrolling fighting games. And he is correct in saying so. So, yeah, boo Zemi. But you can't blame him for being young.
I didn't even know that like the Neo Geo was a game console until
Zemi,
6 months ago. You're not even lying.
You're digging yourself.
Not even lying.
You're in the grave. Okay, listen. People don't throw dirt on him. He's still alive. Let's get into one of the originally written topics. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I was telling Zemi and the guys before we went live that when you put on 2 Xbox shows per week, sometimes you have to get creative. And when I mean creative, I actually literally mean creative. You have to have a love for a particular brand, and you kind of want to talk about things that other folks aren't talking about to continue to entice the audience to come in. And we already had we're only 11 minutes into the show, and we got almost 200 people watching, which is incredible. And I'm hoping that it's because of the original topics that I continue writing, and this is one of them. In the world of video games and comics, there's a phrase known as the Holy Trinity. For comics, that's easily recognized as Batman, Superman, and of course Wonder Woman. For the Xbox gaming community, that is known as Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. And the reason why I bring up the Holy Trinity for Xbox is because for some reason, many opposing fans of the Emerald Green is consider that this so-called Holy Trinity is a crutch or a weakness for the platform. Not only is this notion absolutely preposterous, but it's foolhardy at best. Now, in order to build a foundation, you need pillars. Every current gaming platform has them, and some more than others. Nintendo has Mario, Zelda, and Super Smash Brothers. The PlayStation has Uncharted, God of War, and Gran Turismo. Now, with those names mentioned, there are always going to be someone that's going to somehow downplay when talking about Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. Now, I'm sure the chat is already going crazy and about about what I picked as being Sony or Nintendo's so-called Holy Trinity. And of course, your choice is going to be your choice. If you feel that maybe Gran Turismo doesn't belong in there, that's fine. But, each console has these. And what I find to be a little, I guess, annoying when people downplay these 3 particular franchises is that all 3 of them are billion-dollar franchises. And they've sold tens of millions of copies since their inception. And with that said, why is having these titles as your pillars a quote-unquote bad thing? Now, gamers on the Xbox side of things consider these franchises to be very important to the platform, and of course, so do I. And for good reason. Though the opposing PlayStation community think that they're overused and old news. And well, not only are they wrong, I have several counterpoints that I would like to discuss on both sides with my esteemed panel. So let's break this down. And Kid Smooth, I want to start with you if you don't mind. You are obviously one of our guests today. When you talk about the Holy Trinity, Halo. Okay, maybe Halo doesn't hold the weight it once did when you were talking about maybe Halo 2, Halo 3, when Bungie was running the show. But when you talk about Forza, that game continues every time it releases to get high 9s across the board in Metacritic. And of course, the latest one, Forza Horizon 4, it was no slouch. Gears 5, depending on who you ask, I thought Gears 5 was a masterpiece. Some people will disagree with me, but that's fine. And I think one of the towing lines for, well, it's just Gears, Halo, and Forza. People wanted change, and guess what? With the new console, we're getting that. You're getting Gears Tactics, which is a totally different way to play Gears. You're getting Halo Infinite, which is going to be more open world than corridor based, and they're redesigning Forza from the ground up. So I don't understand what the problem is. Where do you think they went wrong with this Holy Trinity?
I look at it as in basketball terms is that Xbox has a big three, but they didn't have a supporting cast. So
that's a great point. That's a great point.
You know, obviously, when you look at the win championships, you have to have a supporting cast, a bench. So there's nothing wrong with Halo, Gears, and Forza, but it's the in between. It's those other guys, those other titles that drop when those games aren't out, or when those games aren't at their peak. And that's what Microsoft is. Well, that's what the Xbox needs. It needs that 6 man. It needs that those surprise hits on the years that there's not going to be a Halo, or the years that there's not going to be a Gears. Like, for example, just last year there was a year where there was no Forza game at all, like in 2019. Right. Yep. So and then obviously in 2017 was the year the only exclusive we had was a Forza game, and that was Forza 7. And there was no Halo, there was no Gears. So, and those were poor years for Xbox. So I'd say, I would say they need the studios that they purchase. Like, that's when Ninja Theory has to fill that role.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm not even going to count Playground because they haven't made one bad game yet. But you have Ninja Theory, Compulsion, Obsidian. They're gonna fill out the Xbox rosters to allow the games like Gears, Halo, and Forza to shine on their own. So pretty soon we're not going to be hearing Halo, Gears, Forza, because there's going to be these titles that come in that smacks us with like 90 Metacritics, 86 Metacritics that aren't a Halo or a Gears. You know, so and that's what they need, a supporting cast. Not that there's anything wrong with the Xbox Trinity or the Holy Trinity, as you asked. It's the fact that there's no supporting cast, and when you go through a console generation where those are the only titles carrying you, it's going to seem redundant. But when you compare those three versus, let's say, PlayStation or Nintendo's big three, and you look at the release window, it's like actually the only difference is that Nintendo and Sony has other titles in between. But they come out
those second party games for Sony have been mammoth.
Yes. So yeah, that's really the biggest difference. Because a lot of people be calling for like, oh, give Halo a break, give Gears of War a break. One, Halo doesn't need a break. Halo, this is the longest stretch of time we went without a Halo game since Halo 1 and 2. If you think about it, like Halo 1 came out in 2001 and Halo 2 came out in 2004. And now from Halo 5 came out in 2015. When Halo 5
we had a whole generation just with one Halo game.
Yeah. The last time Halo came out, the Xbox One was relatively new.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. I mean, look, I'm going to say this. I think that what you said is literally, there's no arguing. Not having a support staff and having only your three bigs is definitely where they went wrong. But I am going to say that based on what we know, this isn't the same Microsoft. This is not the same Xbox. They have shed the skin of old, and with the different people that they've added to marketing, with the total of 15 first-party studios that they have, with some of the games we've already seen coming, and with the fact that we're going to get 2 digital events that are going to be games, and more games, I think that they are going to. We might see a glimpse, or even a huge shine of what we used to see with the Xbox 360. In fact, I think it might even be brighter, just based on the high quality studios that they have. So that's a really great way to break it down. Zemi, let me bring you on this one. When you talk about the Holy Trinity, a lot of people love to say that it's the same old. And I think what you're getting, at least what you have gotten from prior titles recently, and what you're going to be getting in future releases, I think that mantra is going to be lifted and thrown away, especially where, if you look at what Kid said about the support staff and he's 100% right on that. You know, when you put out Halo 5, and on the back end of it was Super Lucky's Tale, which I happen to really enjoy. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to win with the crowd. But if you turn around and you put out a Halo Infinite, and then on the back end of that, you get a Forza, and then after Forza, you get Hellblade, and after Hellblade, you get something else big, people start to recognize your brand and be like, wow, they're dropping some serious bangers.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the downplaying of these three games as Microsoft's main pillars?
I mean, you know, I just kind of think it's stupid, and it's just, you know, more of the old same in the sense of, you know, just people looking to debate consoles and just drive console, you know, like the console war shenanigans, right? You know, like you said before, I mean, PlayStation, they have their Trinity, right? You know, we could probably sit here and debate, you know, left and right of what those games, what we would consider their Trinity to be, but they do have their Trinity, same as Nintendo, right? And, you know, there's really nothing necessarily wrong with Xbox continuing to make Halo, continuing to make Gears, and continuing to make Forza. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like there's nothing wrong with Nintendo making their 800th version of Mario, right? People enjoy it, and it's going to sell consoles, and it's the games that people are enjoying, right? So, you know, there's really nothing wrong with, you know, a Trinity, you know, with any of these companies having their Trinity or whatever you want to call it, right? And I think where Xbox kind of gets somewhat of a bad name is all throughout this generation, they just have not really had a lot of other games coming out besides, you know, that were majorly successful and really resonated with the fan base, you know, beyond, you know, Halo and Gears and those titles, right? Whereas, you know, PlayStation was just dropping bangers left and right.
Yeah.
But one thing that I, you know, that I was actually kind of thinking about before the show is, you know, the similarities between, you know, what PlayStation is saying about Xbox. You know, this can actually be said, the whole, you know, the idea that we're talking about, you know, can actually be said on both sides. You know, Xbox, you know, the Xbox hardcore, you know, console war, you know, beating the drum, those types of people do the same exact thing with PlayStation in the statement of saying that all of PlayStation's games look the same, right? So, you know, I think a lot of the idea that, you know, all that you get on Xbox is just more Halo and more Gears and more, you know, whatever. I think it's just another method that, you know, people who like to push the console war, you know, I guess fighting, are just using now to try to continue to, I guess, share that ideology and just kind of, just cause fighting, I guess, if that makes any sense. I think it's just a tool that these people are using to just bring out more console warring, and I just think it's kind of stupid altogether. In the same way that, you know, Last of Us is fun. The first one was amazing. The second one's going to be great. In the same way that, you know, all of the God of Wars are great. You know, it's like, it's the same thing, right? It's just whenever Xbox does it, it's, you know, how dare they, right?
No, you're absolutely correct when you're saying that. I mean, I just think that everyone has brought really good points to it. Archimedes, I want to get your opinion on this because I'm interested to hear your angle. You know, when you talk about Halo, you think about Xbox. When you talk about Forza, and it's not just Forza Motorsport, you also have Horizon, which gives two different perspectives on racing. One is run over everything, you know, race until your wheels fall off. And the other one is a more technically based racer that they're looking to add some changes to. And of course, Gears of War is synonymous with the Xbox. It's what made the 360 what it was. Gears 4 was, I guess, the Coalition dipping their toe into the lake. And Gears 5 was, in my opinion, completely blowing the lake up because I loved everything about Gears 5. I think it's everything I personally wanted. Some people would disagree, and again, that's perfectly fine. And I like that we're getting Gears Tactics. You're gonna get told a standard Gears story with a different way to play. Halo Infinite is promising a very, very new and amazing way to enjoy the Halo lore. We're going to be getting, hopefully, we're going to get a return of the Flood. Hopefully, we're going to. There's some news that broke last night about the Banished being in the game that broke late last night with some toys that were put out there. Atriox could maybe be making his debut from Halo Wars 2 into the actual Halo franchise that we know and love. For you, is there anything wrong with the Holy Trinity?
Oh no, why would it be? I mean, all three franchises are just high quality franchises. Yeah, you could argue, okay, Halo 5 was probably not the best in the series, but the multiplayer was awesome. Yeah, it was just about the campaign. Everybody complained about the campaign. Multiplayer was awesome. The Gears games have always been high quality, and as you said, Gears 5, it was a masterpiece in my opinion too. It added so much. It had a fantastic story. I loved the open aerials and the customization. I hope that they expand on that in Gears 6. And Forza has always been top quality racing games. May it be the Horizon series with the arcade approach or the more simulation approach in the Forza Motorsport series. So I don't know how you can argue against that. I think Kit hit the nail on the head here. The problem is not the Holy Trinity. It's three quality franchises. It's the in between is missing, and that is why this narrative is used in this kind of way. To bring it up as a negative thing that Microsoft has these three quality franchises. Yeah. I don't think we will hear that narrative in the next generation. If you look at the Xbox Game Studios and what they are up to right now, I don't think anyone can argue anymore about Xbox just having Halo, Gears, and Forza. There's a lot more coming. It will be a lot more diverse than we had in this current generation. But no. I don't get it why it is used as a negative thing that Xbox has these three franchises. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen. Like I said, I think that the way Kid Smooth described it was perfect. Having these big three are great, but needing to have your support staff or your support players is a big deal, and I think that this generation that's coming up is going to be big. But you know what? Look, here's the thing. There's two things before we move on to the next topic. First of all, I want to thank the near 300 people already here. We're watching this show, which is great. I cannot thank you guys and gals enough for supporting not only the Xbox Factor podcast, but more importantly, Double Barrel Gaming. This is something I've always dreamed of doing, and being able to have an audience that enjoys the content is just I have to pinch myself sometimes. And with that said, thanks to Thomas Lindsay on Twitter at Lanier A7X, he donated to the show to give away a digital copy or a digital deluxe version of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And I'm going to be giving that away shortly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to I put something out on my Twitter with a hashtag. And basically, all you have to do is go retweet it and use the hashtag I want to win Jedi FO. Let me make sure that I got it right. Hold on a sec. Okay, here we go. All you have to do is go to my Twitter and retweet the hashtag I want to win Star Wars JFO. And I will pick a winner towards the end of the show. It is the digital deluxe version. It was donated by a very good friend of the show, Lindsay, Thomas Lindsay. So thanks so much, Thomas. Really super appreciate your support. And of course, thank you for donating that very expensive title. And let's move on to the next topic now. This one is going to be good. And I want to bring up a picture that's going to be worth 1,000 words. This has been making the rounds as of late, and as you can see, it says Xbox Series X, and what you can't really see on the bottom of it is it says Playground Games. Now, this picture, it's not the greatest of pictures. It's a little dark. I tried to find a really good one, and I couldn't, so this is the best I got. Now, when I first saw this, I immediately added at Playground Games to confirm maybe this was some sort of an artwork teased. And this, unfortunately, was not from them. This is someone that was a fan of Fable and did this this character on a boat with the sword on his back with the red cape. Now, again, this is fan art, but the firestorm that came with this piece of art only proves the importance of the Fable franchise. Now, it's funny because I bring this up in the last couple of days. There have been a lot of folks on Twitter, whether it be their frustration of not having any confirmation that the game actually exists, or the fact that some people just never really liked Fable. They were actually saying that there were some folks who will remain nameless that felt that the IP does not have any value. And this is where I will tell you that you are out of your mind wrong. So, since the rumor of Playground Games working on the reboot of the beloved Microsoft IP known as Fable, there has been a lot of chatter regarding what we want. And if in fact the IP actually still holds value, and whether or not the game can be changed to better suit the current open world genre that has become extremely popular in gaming. Now, because the Xbox news has slowed down, and I intend to keep my promise to the fans of having an extra Xbox show weekly, I wanted to start writing topics that were kind of thought-provoking and in the line of original content. Now, Fable, to me, has had a fantastic run that started on the OG Xbox and made its way all the way through this 360 era. Now, all three games can currently be played on the Xbox One with visual upgrades. But with that said, many gamers here really want a full-fledged reboot, and I'm one of them. And some will even say they want to keep a little bit of what we know about Fable and maybe consider it a re-imaging to jumpstart Microsoft's first party. Now, what I wanted to do is to get a feel of what the community is looking for, and also kind of poll the panel to see if we're on the same page. Now, for me, I'm looking for a Witcher size Fable with a modern take on the franchise. In fact, I think it would be somewhat stifle, in my opinion, would stifle the creativity of the amazing developers at Playground if they had to adhere to what people remember Fable. Now, again, Fable was a great game, had great combat, had great visuals for its time, had great magic use. But it had a little bit of humor that some people didn't get. It was considered a British type humor where you're kicking chickens and you're making farts and things of that nature. And some people enjoyed it, and some people could take it or leave it. I have to be honest with you, and I could get booed, and that's fine. I've been booed off my own show before. I don't want that to return, to be honest with you. I think that Fable is a trilogy that did well for its time, and I think that we need to move on to a more modern Fable. I want to see something, and I know that some people are going to disagree. I don't want it to be the Witcher Fable, but I think that those realistic, adult-themed type of graphics is what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for side quests that are of epic proportion, like you found in The Witcher. I want this game to be massive. I want to be playing this game 6 months after its launch, just on the main story, because there's so much to do. So Zemi Games, I want to bring you in on this. We've talked a lot of Fable, and from what we heard from the leak that we talked about on Tuesday, Fable is going to be making an appearance on this May show, which we don't know when it's going to be, but some are saying that it's going to be the first week of April. What do you want from the new Fable? Should it retain its characteristic humor that's known as that British type or European type humor, or should they just not adhere to anything and do what they want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I want it. I mean, obviously, I want Playground Games to make the game their own. I want them to, to make the game, different from the previous Fables, but in a safe way that whenever I boot up the game, it still is Fable, right? Like, I don't want it to, copy off a bunch of things that maybe The Witcher did, or maybe that Skyrim did, or all these other RPGs did. I love Fable because it's Fable, right? I'm going to download it and play it day one because, once again, it's Fable. I want to play Fable. I don't really want to play The Witcher or Skyrim or whatever. Those games are fantastic, but I don't want to play the same thing over and over and over again, right? For me, I would love to see them do, more updated graphics. I still want it to be somewhat cartoony. I don't want it to be, ultra super realistic. Just maybe realistic, cartoony kind of graphics. The photo that we saw a while ago that was I believe the leaked photos that look like Fable. I think that is spot on from what I would want to see them do. And then, I definitely want them to upgrade the gameplay. I still want to go around and kill monsters and pick up their orbs to level up my character, because to me, that's what Fable is, right? But, I would love to, see them do new things with the gameplay, new things with, bows and arrows or swords or shields or whatever. I'm perfectly fine with them changing things and adapting things, but at the end of the day, I still want to play Fable, and I don't want it to be taken, away and transformed into a game that I don't even recognize. If that makes any sense.
No, that's very interesting, dude. That is. I want to thank you for being that honest. So basically, what you're looking for. Okay, let me just ask this. You talked about orbs. You talked about the way you're leveling up. Remember the stones, the secret stones. You had to do like the riddles to get into get special weapons.
Yeah, those things were absolutely hysterical.
Right. Now,
and the comedy.
All of that.
I want there to be comedy too, because to me, it's not Fable if you don't have that witty British humor. If you're not going around catching STDs, kicking chickens, and all that, sort of thing. To me, that's not Fable. That's another game.
This is getting very interesting. So you wanted to retain. So let me see if I get this correct. You want it to be Fable that we know and love, but you just want what we see on the screen, that adult, a lifelike type graphics.
Well, I don't want lifelike, graphics. I don't want it to even remotely, look like The Witcher. If I wanted that, I'd go play The Witcher.
What about looking? I don't want it to be this, but what I'm saying, the look of it, from like you take something like a God of War, or you take something Horizon Zero Dawn, that aesthetic, is that something that you would be into, or is it something that you don't want any part of?
I mean, for me, that's just not really cartoony enough.
Oh,
for
okay.
Fable.
Could I interrupt?
Come on in. Yes,
I get Fable. I understand what he's talking about. Like, obviously he wants a proper Fable game. Here's the thing, right? I get what Boom is saying. I get what you are saying. I'm not a fan of the goofy fart in Fable. Like, you know what I mean? I understand. And I think, honestly, I don't even, and I have a video that's very unpopular on YouTube right now saying Playground Games is not making Fable. They're making a new RPG game. Because I think that's the intentions they wanted to make, is their own RPG, action RPG.
I didn't even know about that video. Now I have to watch it.
Yeah, it's not going to show up on your recommendations because it has too many dislikes.
Sometimes you got to speak the truth. The truth it sometimes hurts, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they want to make a new RPG game, go for it. I will support it. I will buy it. I will play it. I will do whatever, right? But don't just take the Fable name and try to make a brand new game out of it that has nothing to really do with Fable, really none of like the previous atmosphere.
But that has happened. You had the Fable Connect game, you had Fable Legends, which took place. Obviously, it wasn't a Fable game. It just took the Fable name, took place in Albion. I think we are due for a return to Albion, and I would like to see it in a more mature light. I think because here's the thing, there's some things Fable did that hasn't really been done again in most games, of like the decisions you made and how it played out your character. And I think if that was set to more of a mature tone setting, I think they could do wonders with that. I mean, I would like to see a graphically demanding, impressive Fable game. It doesn't have to look exactly like The Witcher. I mean, I prefer Horizon Zero Dawn looks in that case, but I think to be compared in terms of visual quality, strength of the story and the RPG elements, especially what they used to do back then with the decisions, I can imagine how like crazy your character could get by just being like a bad person, right? Of like how dark your missions could get, or like what type of like powers you would gain and how they would take advantage of that. I think it would be fair to do a Fable quality game that could be compared to like a Witcher, the latest Assassin's Creed games, and Horizon, because it's a franchise that it's been like dead long enough to do a proper reimagining. And I think with the platform that they have, they have a world that they like, all right, this is Albion, we have the characters that we can create and just redesign. It's the way I look at Perfect Dark. Like we all know about Perfect Dark as being like a first person shooter that didn't quite make any sense. But every time I think about Perfect Dark now, I'm thinking about Splinter Cell and Lara Croft. It's just these things that I get. But I think if you like, I don't know if you played any Fable games. If you haven't, I think Fable Anniversary is free right now.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Check it out, play it. The controls are a bit outdated. And then I would say dabble into like Fable 3 or something to get a sense. I mean, so like back then, like when we were younger, it was cool and everything, but the way that games have evolved over the past like 5 years and how RPGs are made, I think Fable is an opportunity to take advantage of that and like upset like a lot of these existing titles where it could do things better, because they had a system in place that we didn't take it seriously back then, but when you think about how games are made now, it's like, wait, they could actually do something crazy with this system.
Yeah.
So, and that's the all I wanted to say. I apologize, but but I understand that keeping it to its core, like, because I don't want people to. I hate when people complain about Halo and Gears, how they want to change up all that. Those are games I feel like they have a canvas that you don't want to change. But I feel like Fable is a title that has room because of the genre it's in.
I mean, you make a lot of sense. Zemi, now, I mean, do you agree with Kid Smooth, because it's been removed so long since Fable 3 and Fable Anniversary that they could still, because for me personally, I played the trilogy. I've beaten the trilogy. I've played Fable Anniversary multiple times. I've beaten it multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten my fill with it. I think that because it's been such a removed franchise that it saw no life on. You gotta remember, the last time this game saw any kind of life was on the Xbox 360. Now, sure, are they playable now on the Xbox One? Yes, through backwards compatibility, and of course, you get a little up-res. But I think that we've gone 7 years without having a return to Albion, where we could really put a stake in the ground moving forward. And I think that they can't do that by just reimagining the original Fable. I personally think that they need to go big. I'm not saying that it needs to be as big as The Witcher. I'm not even saying it needs to be as big as Horizon Zero Dawn. But this is a game that I'm expecting they're going to be continuing to support well after its initial release, with constant updates and even new continents and areas and characters and heroes and villains that we've never heard before that are going to be new to the franchise. Mm-hmm. But for you do you want any of that, but you still wanted to retain the Fable lore that you know and love.
Yeah, I mean, so I definitely want the game to be as big as it could be. I mean, I would love to have a game to just throw, 70, 100 hours into, right? I mean, I would love a huge world to go and explore and tons of NPCs to interact with and tons of different, choices and decisions to make throughout the game and, new bosses and all of that. Like, I think all of that sounds absolutely amazing. But to me, one of the most important aspects of the game is that it still is a Fable game. It still follows that, somewhat, like the source material almost, and it has like the same feel to it, right? I don't. I want to go around and kick chickens. Like I really do. Because that to me, I remember being a little kid and I go into like the very first village and I see a chicken and I accidentally kick it. And then now I'm going around everywhere seeing how many other things I could kick. Right. I just love that. I guess that theme, that atmosphere, like what the very first Fable games created. I love that, and I loved how they branched off of each other. Going through time, and I just really want to see Playground Games stay very close to what makes a Fable game a Fable game. You want to update the graphics a little bit, add, a little bit more realism into it. I'm perfectly fine with that, but I just don't want to see an ultra realistic
update the graphics game. A lot, bro. It's been 7 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I just don't want to see The Witcher. You know what I mean? Like super realistic graphics or anything like that. Like I just want to see, I don't want there to be any mistake whenever I start up the game for the very first time. I want to automatically know that I'm playing a Witcher game, or not a Witcher game.
You know what?
Not a Witcher game.
Yeah, I know that makes perfect sense, dude. You know what? Archimedes, I want to get you in here, but I have to catch up on these super chats. They're coming in so fast that I actually lost count. So let me start off with the first one. It's from Rios. He said, Rios J. He drops an outstanding and very generous $2 super chat and says this: "Stay safe, and if you can, try A Plague's Tale." Yes, I actually played through it. It was the first game I beat in 2020. It is an amazing game. I was put onto that by Zemi Games, who thinks it was one of his favorite games of 2019. A Plague's Tale is definitely something that you should look into. A very good friend of the show, Spider-Man, drops a $3 super chat and says this: "Did you hear China has banned all online gaming?" I have not heard that. I have to look into that. That might be big enough for a story on tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom. Spider-Man drops another $5 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, my friend. He says this: "I've never seen Sony so much on the defense. Sony won't release the price of the PS5, and that may delay system if Microsoft does. Crazy thoughts." Yeah, I'm working on a story that just broke for tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom regarding a Bloomberg report for Sony still battling internally about the pricing. There's currently some talk of a delay if Microsoft delays theirs, and there's also a talk of an extreme shortage for the PlayStation 5 in the form of they're only expecting to make between 5 and 6 million through March 2021, and that's not good. That means that the PlayStation 5s are going to be very rare, and that means that if you're not on board to pre-order it the minute it's available at your favorite store, I think you're going to be pretty much shit out of luck. And I'm hoping that I can pay for mine up in full at my local GameStop when it opens up again, and just get that because it's going to be hard to find a PS5. But let me continue with the super chats. A very good friend of the show, Sir X-Men, drops a $2 super chat. Thank you for being here, and of course, thank you for your outstanding generosity. He says, "How do you feel about the new Xbox dashboard?" I think it's fine. I'm going to be honest. I think it does what it needs to do. I'm able to customize it the way I want, in order that I want it. I like that. So I just think that this is a good, quick version. It's definitely much snappier than before. And Slipsbane drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your generosity, but more so that you're here in the chat. He says this: Go on the Xbox website. They are releasing something in 4 days, and the small video looks like it's a silhouette of a console. Oh shit. Is that so, sir? How do I miss these things? Okay, so Slipvane, thank you so much. I may have to actually bring that in the back end of today's show. I'm going to see if I can find that. I got to tell you, folks, trying to give away a game, read the chat, keep my teleprompter from messing up, reading the chat, and keeping the teletype on the bottom going sometimes gives you a migraine. This is the life of a showrunner, and of course, everyone here knows what I'm talking about because they all have their own stuff. A good friend of the show drops an outstanding and very generous $12 super chat. Robert Jones says this: one problem is that decent games got thoroughly downplayed, like Rise and Quantum Break, and I agree. My God, I would kill for a sequel to both of these games, and I think Rise, if you turn it on right now, is still one of the best looking games.
Yes, it is.
In this generation. It is unbelievable how good that game still looks. It's shocking that was a launch title from 2013. And Sir X-Men shows his generosity once again with another $2 super chat and says this: please, please, no co-op in Fable, single player only. Now, you know what? I don't know. I love single player games. Everyone knows that. But man, giving the ability to play a game like Fable in co-op, maybe it could be a side stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to go through the main campaign. Maybe that could be like ops missions that you get in like Call of Duty, where you can play with your buddies, but it's still in the Call of Duty universe. It's just side stuff. I think that would be actually cool. So Archimedes, let's get you in on this conversation. For you personally, you've heard everyone's take. Some people, like myself, want an extreme makeover, right? Some people, like Zemi, kind of want it to remain the same with just updated graphics. And someone like Kid Smooth kind of wants a little bit of both. But what do you want from a new Fable? Do you agree with any of us, or do you have your own theory?
Well, it's always difficult to go last on such a subject because there already are so many good points on the table.
No, but your point matters, so please
sure.
take it away.
No. And I'm really happy to be here, the last in this topic because I'm really torn here. It's funny that Kit mentioned he uploaded a video saying that Playground isn't doing Fable. I did the exact same thing a few days ago. I uploaded a video guessing what all the Xbox game studios are working on, and I don't think Playground is working on the next Fable. And it is not because I don't want a next Fable. I love the franchise. I really, really do. But I don't think it is what Xbox needs right now.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I need you to watch my video, dude, after the podcast.
Please yes.
Please send me the link. I'll send you mine.
You know what, Kid, if you don't mind, drop that link in the chat. If you can, drop it in. Drop that into the chat so people can check it out, because we got to get some upvotes on this video.
Sounds like we do. It is. I really love the Fable franchise. It is a great. Those are really great games. This is no doubt, but the art style and the kind of humor is not what Xbox needs right now. They need a more mature AAA game. And looking at Playground games, they are doing the Forza Horizon series. They have a fantastic engine. They have the capability to create photorealistic looking games. For them to go into a cartoonish game with a special humor that is not for everyone is not what you should do with such a talented studio right now. My guess in my video, I said I would love to have a new Fable, but for instance, let's think about Compulsion making a Fable reboot.
Well, you know what? They're currently making a game that's a third-person game that they described that's a cross between BioShock and Uncharted. So they're making a new IP. They're my dark horse of what's going on.
Yeah, but I'm just meaning from the theory. They have the capability to do a stylized, a cartoonish game with a a special humor. Yeah, I don't know if Playground is that game, is that studio, and yeah, I would love to have a Witcher-like game, which is my game of the generation, no doubt. I love the Witcher, and this is something what Microsoft needs right now. They need a mature game. They need something with not a stylized, a cartoonish look. They have enough of those
I
games.
know. I agree. I agree.
And going into a Fable, you can only make the wrong decision. You can make it more mature, like The Witcher, then everybody will start crying, "Oh, this isn't a Fable anymore." Or you remain that Fable style, yeah, and have a stylized graphics and a certain humor, and then everybody will start arguing, okay, another childish game from Microsoft, yeah, and that is why I don't think that Microsoft needs such a Fable reboot from Playground right now. They need a new IP from that studio, and have one of the smaller Xbox game studios get them out and do a Fable reboot. Fable is a fantastic franchise, no doubt. There's a lot of potential there, yeah, making it more modern and everything. I really want that, but not from Playground.
Zimmy, this is where I disagree.
You're just all breaking my heart. You're just all breaking my heart. How dare you?
This is where I disagree with Zimmy right quick. So because I get it, like I don't want any B-tiered or AA studio taking Fable because that's supposed to be their pillar. That one of their pillars.
I agree. I agree.
I would want, like, if anybody's gonna do it, all right, maybe not. All right, if you don't want Playground, fine, they could tackle. But Obsidian, they're experienced in RPGs. I would consider them, and they've worked on both AA and AAA titles. But Compulsion, they're not proven yet. They had We Happy Few, and they had like a Contrast, and both were like lukewarm games. At best, so that's where because it's like if you want Fable to come back, it can't come back under like a AA budget. Like Playground has the budget, 343 has the budget, Coalition has the budget, Obsidian probably has the budget. I don't think, even though they're under the Xbox umbrella, the Xbox Game Studios umbrella, I don't think Compulsion. I think Compulsion is one of those studios they purchased to give them that freedom to try whatever they want under the constraints that they're. And if they need obviously extra funding, they'll get it. But they're going to be making the games that they typically want to make, and I think those are going to be the games that to a lesser degree, just like Ninja Theory, their games are better with the constraints they have. They can make quality tier games, but they're working at the freedom of what they want to do. They're keeping teams small, and they have like this amazing tech that allows their games to look as good as games that are like quadruple A and stuff like that. So because remember, even Hellblade 2 is looking like it's going to be a visual masterpiece and whatnot, but it's only being made by like 40 people. That like, and that's like 20 more than what was on Hellblade 1. So yeah, Playground is probably at this point the best choice to do it. But if it wasn't Playground, the only other option I would look at would be Obsidian or Rare, maybe Rare.
In Excel,
you know what's funny?
Take a bet.
You know what's funny that we're talking about this right now. And how the conversation has changed in such a way that it literally warms my heart as an Xbox dude. Think about what we were just doing before. We can count on before 2018, E3 2018, which I always harken back to as the pinnacle turning moment for the brand with Phil Spencer running the show. We could count on one hand how many studios could make a game, which is why they were all rushed. The games came out late. They came out broken. They only had 5 studios that were making games, right? You can count on one hand. Now we're in 2020. We're on an Xbox-centric show. We're all talking about the potential of a new Fable. And do you see how the conversation has really changed where we don't know who could make a next Fable, but there's at least half a dozen studios that are not 343 or the Coalition. You know what I'm saying? It is a very exciting time. I will end this particular topic with this. the fan base has been waiting for games that have that adult themed, that are single player driven, that are story driven. And I don't want to keep saying I want a PlayStation 4 game on my Xbox. No, I have my PlayStation 4 and potentially PlayStation 5 for that. What I do want is Microsoft to take advantage of what brought them from 2001's box that no one cared about to 2020, and everyone's caring about it. You understand what I'm saying? And what got them there are games in the franchise. Franchises like Fable got them there, and I'd love to see them bring a more adult-themed Fable to the table. And quite frankly, I maybe I'm in the minority here, and I know Zemi has his own theory, and actually everyone has their own theory of how they want it to go. For me, I want a from the ground up reboot. I want this to retain the name Fable. I want them to go and maybe reference the old guard, but I want a new visual style and look for what Fable is going to be moving forward. I think Albion and whatever worlds that they have outside of what we already know are tremendous.
Boom.
Yes,
sorry.
sir.
Dude, go to xbox.com. Something's going on.
Okay, well, you know what? Let me just hold on just a second, because now how this doesn't happen.
Wait, what's going on?
Dude, they're doing something with it. It is a countdown. They distorted the image, and I don't know what it means.
Okay, okay. Let's see. This is live on the air, folks. This is unprecedented work that I'm doing right here. Okay.
I can just tell right now, everybody that's like listening in the chat, they're all going to Xbox.com. Okay, that looks really weird.
I don't see anything.
That looks okay. Return in 4 days is what it said.
Okay.
And now the site's back to normal.
Okay.
Yeah, it was some like really weird.
Okay, well, listen, you know what? I'm probably going to have to bring this up on tomorrow's show, because I have to know more about what's going on. Every press junket is going to be running stuff on this. So as soon as I have the information, folks, rest assured that we're going to be talking about this, because Return in 4 days has me very excited. That means now, Kid Smooth, can you describe what the image was?
Yeah, so every time I refresh the screen, it does the same thing. So I'm just doing it as it goes. So the screen gets blurred out, and it has that cyberpunk thing that happened like during E3. And then there's these codes. These codes come in. It says return in 4 days, and then it blurs out back to the regular Xbox website. Okay,
so yep, I'm here. Yep, I'm seeing it. It says yep, return in 4 days.
Yeah, and it looks like there's like a butterfly on like one of like the logos.
Wow. Okay, well that's that's very exciting to say the least. All right, you know what?
Looks like CD Projekt Red, that announcement trailer from E3.
It does. It does. I mean, could we be getting? I know that I'm not sure if you guys. I have a picture of it, but I'm not sure if anyone saw it. Did anyone see the Cyberpunk controller that was on Amazon? I believe it was Amazon France, and it was immediately sold out. Did anyone see that?
Yeah, I saw that. It looks dope.
It looks ridiculous. And we've been hearing that there's going to be a special edition console for this game in September when it launches, which sounds dope, because I'm definitely buying it. I'm telling you right now, I'm buying that console, even if I don't even open it, because that's going to be worth a lot of loot sometime down the line. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic. And this one over here is very interesting. In the last couple of years, Microsoft and Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, have been doing their due diligence to correct the glaring first-party issue that was very apparent through this entire generation. And with the looks of with the likes of Double Fine, Ninja Theory, In Exile, Obsidian, and a ton of others, there is the white whale acquisition that many Xbox gamers have been calling for. And I got to tell you, I think that the white whale, that, in my opinion, is Crytek, makers of the incredible Crysis series and Rise: Son of Rome. Now, while something happened the other day that I want to talk about that I not only found perplexing, but eyebrow lifting. For the first time since 2016, the official Crysis Twitter account tweeted this: receiving data. That's it. That's simple. And there was a firestorm on social media. Now, this was immediately followed with a corroborating tweet from the official Xbox Twitter account who said this: this is not a drill. Okay, what the hell are they talking about? Well, now before we take a stroll down speculation town, I wanted to be upfront with this. This theory that I'm going to talk about is mine and mine alone. So if you're going to boo anyone, don't boo the panel, boo me. I thought it would make a great conversation to speculate on the possibility of Crytek making a new AAA series, Xbox Series X exclusive Crysis title. Now, the Crysis series is revered throughout gaming and has made its debut all the way back on the PC on November 13th of 2007, and it was and still is one of the most graphically intense games ever released. In fact, I would dare call it a PC choker, because it choked out most PCs that tried to run it. Now, in a story that I pulled from GameSpot.com, here is where my mind starts running with excitement and possibilities. Crytek is currently looking to hire a number of people to work on an unannounced AAA title, which is likely a new Crysis project. One of the positions they're looking for to fill is an FX artist who will be expected to develop cutting-edge particles and on-screen effects. This is very exciting. But what they're also looking to hire is a senior rendering engineer who will focus on real-time ray tracing for the Crysis, the CryEngine team in our Frankfurt studio. While the rendering engineer job doesn't list the unannounced AAA project specifically, it seems very unlikely Crytek would work on a ray tracing CryEngine title that wasn't what they were originally referring to. So I want to go to Zemi Games. Zemi, you had some interesting theories. I said that it could be a new AAA title that's an exclusive for the Series X, in the same vein that, of course, Rise, Son of Rome, which we talked about earlier, is and still remains. You had a different theory.
Well, I mean, I had to say it. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, you might as well go big, right? Yeah. I mean, my theory was maybe
go
Microsoft
big or go home,
has just purchased them and acquired them. I mean, I don't know, but Microsoft is definitely working with Crytek. I mean, it like that would just be too much of a coincidence, or just like a random tweet for Crytek to, what was their tweet, like retrieving transmission or something, and then I mean that would just be way too big of a coincidence. They're definitely, either somebody got bought or they're working together, one or the other. I was actually looking through chat, and it looked like somebody said something along the lines of Xbox just announced Crysis Remaster 5-10 minutes ago. Boom. Saltine said that. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but
May I just add to that? I just got the teaser trailer for Crysis Remaster. So I can drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, actually do that, please, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would definitely love to see them, work with Crysis more in the future. If that's what all of this is about, is just the, like the remastered game, which is going to be fantastic. I mean, Crysis is a wonderful game. But I would love to see, Xbox have more and more of a working relationship with them, and definitely going into this new generation, I really want to see them work with them more on like, first party, exclusive games or second party games. Like we need a second Rise game. Like I would love to see, a Rise Son of Rome 2, or maybe like a Rise Son of Gaul. I just think that would be amazing. Maybe playing as like a barbarian instead of playing as a Roman or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great
Maybe
point.
maybe playing as like the Visigoths, doing like the final sack of Rome would be like the final mission. I don't know. I mean, all of that just sounds cool. But Rise was just one of like the best games starting out this generation, and it's just a shame that we haven't gotten more of them. It's kind of a shame that we haven't gotten more from Crytek just in general.
Yeah,
right?
they did Homefront, and that was it. I think after that.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what all of that's about. Maybe it's just about the remaster. Maybe Microsoft has acquired them. I mean, we know that they were looking in Poland for, a studio there for a while, and we know that Crysis is in Frankfurt, Germany. Germany is a neighbor of Poland, so it's not too far out from where they were looking to acquire a new studio in Poland. I don't know, but I definitely want to see Crysis, or not Crysis, but I do want to see Crysis, but I definitely want to see more of Crytek working with Xbox going into this generation for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually at the digitaltrends.com, and they said that the Crytek website included an image of the upcoming remaster. A brief description detailed that Crysis Remastered would be released on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So that has been confirmed. That they are in fact releasing, which a lot of places were reporting, and I think that's fantastic. I don't know if anyone has ever played the Crysis series. If you missed out on it, get ready to have your hair blown back, because it's an amazing looking game. Crysis 1 to this day still looks insane. So, Kid Smooth, I want to bring you in on this particular topic regarding the AAA secret project that Crysis is working on. Now we know for a fact that Microsoft and Crytek do have a good working relationship. We do know that Phil Spencer has said that besides their the 15 first party studios that are making games for them, they have a lot of things going on in the background. And he actually said that they have second and third party deals that are unannounced, which means that there could potentially be deals like Rise Son of Rome as an exclusive being made by a second party or third party developer like a Crytek. For you personally, this so-called AAA game that could potentially be a Crysis 4 or even a Rise Son of Rome 2, do you want to see them continue that franchise?
Well, dude, just like my Fable video, I have a video on Rise.
I love it.
I'm the biggest advocate for Rise Son of Rome. It was my favorite game. I beat the game like 5 times. I beat it 3 times on Xbox and I think twice on PC. And I just felt like it was very underrated. Like the game, the critiques that hindered that game are stuff that are present in games today.
Absolutely. The QuickTime events.
Repetitive copy and paste enemies. The story was great. The graphics were amazing, especially for being only 900p on the weakest platform at the time. I had so much fun with that game, and I'm still to this point, why isn't there no sequel? And the thing about Rise and that story, you don't have to, when you do a sequel to that game or a follow-up to that game, it could be a series. So the next game doesn't have to have like a Marius or any of the same characters or any of the same creatures. It just has to be another Rise title. But I think they had another character that they could have, I would love to play as to learn more about her origins. And that was, I think, Boudica, yes. The girl with that she dwelled like 2 swords. Yeah. And what happened with her father, I would love to play a game from her perspective, because that's another storyline that they can focus on. And that's what my video was focused on. It was like, hey, what would a Rise game look like about Boudica's storyline? And the gameplay would be pretty much leading up to that point, up until her losing her father. Sorry for the spoiler. In the fashion that she lost her father, and her encounter with Marius, and just fighting to the death. She was a badass. Or just like a follow-up game, because I felt like, man, this game would be cool if they really got deep into the Greek mythology. I want to see a double-headed dog with a snake for a tail, fight more creatures and stuff. Allow me to pick up more weapons and stuff like that. So Yeah, I would love to see it. The only game I really want to see Crytek make is another Rise. I don't really care for Crysis like that. If it comes to consoles, awesome as a remastered. I don't really want to play it on Xbox One. I want to see what it does on Xbox Series X, because
Yeah, me too.
people ask about like, oh, but how will it do Crysis or something like that? That's what you want to see, because the test of power. Like, is it going to be hitting high frame rates? Is it going to be?
Is it going to run at 100 frames per second?
But can it run Crysis? That's the question.
Yeah, but can it run Crysis? So
Apparently,
I
the Switch
love
can
that.
run Crysis
I love
now.
that. Like
that's what I want to
saying.
see out of, like, if they're going to do Crysis. Like, I don't really. It's also a remaster of the first one I'm hearing that's being rumored. But the next game I want to see from Crytek is a follow up to Rise. That's all.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
Like my favorite game in 2013. That might have been my game of the year in 2013. Actually, it's like I had a lot of fun with that game, and I like I said, I still play it to this day sometimes, because there's obviously that multiplayer, that tacked on multiplayer function, but and I'm only missing like a few achievements from the multiplayer side, so that's why I still play it every now and then. So
I'm gonna say this: playing through, I like you, kid. I didn't beat it as many times. I played through it twice, and I loved every second, literally every second of that game. I think I said it earlier. I think the graphics still stand out. I'm going to say that the lore that is untapped for that franchise is immense. And they could go in any direction they want. If they wanted to take this into a God of War type of aesthetic, where it was, you're dealing with the Greek gods, and like Kid was saying, monsters and creatures and the undead, whatever you want to add to it, you could expand this franchise in a way that has never been done before.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like my favorite part about the whole Rise thing, is that, obviously the first one was Rome. I love, the Roman, history and culture and all that different stuff, but they could just expand it so much. Like, you guys were kind of talking about like I think Greece earlier. They could have like a Rise son of Sparta, or like a Rise son of Troy, or whatever. I mean, and I just think like just the potential for that franchise is just so open, and they're just literally doing nothing with it, and that's why it's such a shame.
It is. It's one of those instances that you kind of wish Microsoft would just bring a blank check in. Crytek themselves, they're not the most stable financial developer. And I think that if Microsoft went in there, maybe they couldn't come to an agreement to have them join the first party studios, which I think would be ridiculous if they did. I would love it.
Power move.
But by the Rise Son of Rome franchise, do you know how many people to this day, folks, still go up to Phil Spencer and say, hey, Rise Son of Rome 2, any chance? He still gets questions. Now, I want to bring in Archimedes, but I really and truly have to catch up on these super chats. I'm so sorry that I've been behind with them, because it bothers me when I do that. First of all, I have to thank Echelon 7th Dark, who drops an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat and says this: I'm in my 50s, started Fable Anniversary, first Fable. I love it. I want a grown-up reboot. A child character can fart for nostalgia. For him equals win-win. So there you go, Zemi. Somebody still wants the fartingness in the next Fable. So I'm glad you're happy about that. Simon Brack drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says this: hi guys, I don't think the graphic style of Fable matters. It's the whimsical vibe that needs to be kept. Great show, guys. Well, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comment. Sir X-Men drops a $10 super chat and says this: Microsoft needs to get off their butt. And the only game Crysis had this generation that was a major game was the perfect opportunity to grab a great, good studio with a proven background. I've been calling. I agree 1,000% with you, Mr. X-Man. I think that Crytek, the Cry Engine, the Crysis games, and of course Rise Son of Rome IP not only have tremendous value and would do wonders for Microsoft, themselves as a studio would be a fantastic addition to the Microsoft Game Studios family, I think that it's almost a given. It's literally a shame that it has not happened yet. But who knows? Maybe something is in the works that we'll be made privy of in the next couple of months. And Hassan Abuzyad drops a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity, my friend. He says, Crysis Remastered teaser dropped at ID at Xbox YouTube channel. Yes, I thank you so much for that, dude. I super appreciate that. And okay, so I'm up to date. So Archimedes, let me get you in on this one. Now, Rise, Son of Rome, as you can hear, many people on this panel, including myself, are extremely passionate about a game that came out at the beginning of this generation, almost 7 years ago, right? It has a tremendous lore. It has a tremendous following. There are a lot of people in the chat, and 400 people that are watching this show live have been looking forward to a sequel. Do you think there is a potential for this new unannounced AAA game to be just that? And do you agree with us that Microsoft should adding Crytek to their first-party tentpole studios that they already have?
So yes, and yes.
Excellent.
Rise, highly underrated game. Actually, it's quite a shame that it never got patched for the One X. It would have looked insane on the Xbox One X.
It sure would have.
And I still think that there is so much to it. You can add so many things. As you said, Son of Sparta. So you could also go into the North mythology or something like that, or stay in Rome. There's so much to it, and I sure hope that there will be a second game to it. About Microsoft acquiring Crytek, I've been saying that ever since they went on shopping spree, that this would be the perfect studio, because back in the time, I don't know how public that was in the US, but Crytek had a real financial crisis.
Yeah, no, it was very public. A couple of years ago, they were almost bankrupt. Yes.
Exactly. The German government jumped in, and if they hadn't supported Crytek with funding, they would have gone bankrupt. And I think that this might have been the reason why we never saw a sequel, and why we only have seen as another game from them in this generation, Homeland.
Yeah. Kid talked about that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They were really not in a good financial position. And actually, that is the perfect studio to buy. Yeah, a studio with a fantastic engine, because they wouldn't only buy the IPs, Rise and Crysis and so on. They would also buy that fantastic engine, the Crytek engine. Yeah, and a studio that is close to bankruptcy should be. I would expect it to be relatively cheap. So it would be the perfect match for the Xbox Game Studios. I still think that this might happen along the way. We don't know. And there is something Kit said. I would love the Crysis game to see on the Series X. I mean, Crysis always has been a showcase title, and Crysis 1 Remaster, as much as I want to play that, if it runs now on the Switch, it's apparently not the biggest technical challenge anymore. But a Crysis 4 as a showcase title for the Series X, to really show off what it can do, and that it can match high-end PC graphics. Yeah, I mean, probably 98% of the PCs out there are weaker than the Series X at launch.
Yes, you're right. Good point.
Yeah, and that would be a perfect showcase title. I personally would still prefer a Rise 2, but probably a Crysis 4 or a reboot of that series, a new Crysis game is more likely.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. I mean, there's a lot of points that back up your statement. I mean, obviously they're releasing the Crysis trilogy, right? So that is kind of like putting the breadcrumbs down to get people excited for the potential of a Crysis 4, which I still think that, again, that particular franchise, I think there's still a lot of story to tell. So that makes sense. But at the same time, man, it just, again, I understand that some people are going to be like, you know what, Boom, I love your work, but I think you're stretching here, and I probably wouldn't even disagree. But when Crytek puts out a tweet, or the Crysis YouTube puts out a tweet for the first time since 2016, and it immediately, almost instantly, the Xbox Twitter account responds. I just hate that. I hate the discount of the 1 and 1 equals 2 kind of a theory. I know it's simplistic, and some people be like, you're a boob for even trying to equate the two. I hear what you're saying, but I'm also a dreamer, and I would love to know that Crytek was making a console AAA exclusive for Microsoft. And again, maybe we are going to hear something in the next couple of days. And I think that, I'm not sure who put out a poll about when this next digital event was going to be live. A lot of people were thinking that it's going to be is Monday the 4th, or Monday the 3rd?
Monday the 4th.
Yeah, so it would be May the 4th, which would be in a couple of weeks. It would be pretty dope.
So you think the Xbox? All right. So here's the thing, right? You think the Xbox event is going to be Monday the 4th, right?
Yes.
Because I did the poll. I said either Friday, May 1st. I think.
Okay. You did. That's right. You did the poll. Oh my God, you're on the show. Yes, you did do the poll.
I did Friday, May. I said if you did May 1st, Friday, it's the first of the month, but it's also the start of the weekend. You go into the weekend with everybody hyped, talking about it, all media coverage through that, and then obviously, you're not sharing any like press with anyone, because Tuesdays typically is the natural day to release news and press releases and updates. Is Tuesdays, right? Xbox has been moving on Mondays. I don't know how big May the 4th is.
Well, it's a Star Wars day for sure.
I mean, don't they have conventions and stuff during that day?
Yeah, but that's a no-go now because of the COVID.
Well, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So it's like, so that's why I said May 1st, May 4th, May 5th. And if it's May 6th, it's my birthday, I'd be happy.
Oh, that would be dope. I saw that.
That would be dope, yeah.
Now, birthday present.
If it's going to be the first week of May, it would have to show up on Xbox Wire the week before, or at least 1 week or 2 weeks before. So if it's a week before, that would be the 28th or the 27th. Or if it's 2 weeks before, it would be next week that we will hear about it, that they'll post it.
Well, I mean, listen, I put it to this way. Right now, if you see what Microsoft is doing, you have to smile, right? Like, I mean, I talk about this all the time. Zemi, you and I have gone into deep discussions regarding market share, regarding how aggressive Microsoft has been, how they basically have stolen all of the if you will, from Sony. Yes, again, let's completely remove games from the conversation, because we know what they have coming out. We don't have to reiterate on that. We're talking about overall excitement for a brand. Right now, people are excited for the PlayStation 5, I'm sure, but you don't know shit about it. That's the problem. You know very little what we were able to get. We got a controller. Awesome. Right? But if you look at what Microsoft has been doing, these little tidbits, being active on social media, being active on Facebook, being active on Twitter, being active with the community, doing little things. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. That I didn't even know about the Xbox.com, kind of glitching out and saying be back here in 4 days. Do you understand that once that hits the mainstream media, there's not going to be a PlayStation brand anyone is talking about? And I'm not saying that to diss anyone. I'm telling you that they are doing the most aggressive marketing I have ever seen, and we haven't seen this aggressive marketing since the Xbox 360. It's so great to see everyone getting excited about the next generation Microsoft console that there is nothing you can say that they're doing that's wrong. I mean, sure, do we want more information on games? Yes, that's coming in the next 2 digital events, which basically have been confirmed. But what I want to do is I want to move on to, of course, the next topic. And this one is a good one. And I have to bring up some pictures because I know, Zemi, you had asked me to send them or in the chat earlier. Let me bring them up. Let me bring up my brands over here. Now, these pictures broke a couple of days ago, and I'm gonna scroll through them, right? The fine folks at Ninja Theory dropped some very exciting environmental artwork that has the entire Xbox community talking. The artist's name is Robert Roeder. He works at Ninja Theory. Now, we know for a fact that Ninja Theory is extremely hard at work on Hellblade 2, Project Mara, Project Insight, which is a mental awareness program, which you have to applaud them for doing, and supporting Bleeding Edge. The question that many are asking, what are these environmental pictures from? Now, the team currently employs 150 plus developers and is still currently hard at work hiring for current and future projects. The team was originally founded in March of 2000 and has a ton of games under their belt. And some of their recent titles include Heavenly Sword, which was a PlayStation 3 launch title, Enslaved Odyssey to the West, which deserves a sequel times 10, DMC Devil May Cry, which is the reboot that a lot of people didn't like, and I did, and Hellblade 1. Now, without any evidence whatsoever, these new pictures remind me of Enslaved. But could it, but here's the question. Could it easily be from Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga? Well, thanks to the keen eyes of my panel member, Zemi Games, he noticed that the pillars are Roman-like. Now I'm going to bring that picture up right now that he saw. This is the picture that that we're talking about. Now, Zemi, I want to go to you first because it was your
Did I actually say that? Because I was actually going to say that on the podcast just now. I don't even remember telling you that.
Yeah, you did.
These are old Roman fortresses. I mean, because the arch. I mean, that just screams Roman to me. But then also the pillars.
Right. Well, you actually did say it. I believe it was in the DM. And yes, so let's bring you into the conversation here. Look. Again, these are just storyboard art that sometimes they'll draw because they have an idea for an area. Are they all used? No, but there are 4 of them, and I brought up the first one, which was a forest scene, which was gorgeous. Right? Mm-hmm. It had a fall. All the foliage was on the floor. That orange and red and yellow background. Again, something that you saw very prominently in 2018's Game of the Year, God of War, had an area just like that where the foliage was so unbelievably bright it took your breath away, right? So we saw that. Now we see this screen where if you talk about Senua on Hellblade 1, it's very Viking based. The whole game is around the Viking lore. Now we see this. These are official pictures from Ninja Theory. So there are 2 questions here, Zemi. Mm-hmm. Are they working on another game, or are we going to see Hellblade move possibly into a more Roman-esque era than the Vikings? What are your takes on this?
I mean, here's the thing. So you guys know I'm a coward. I actually haven't even played Hellblade 1. But from what I understand, if I'm not mistaken, Senua is a Pict. She's like she's from like northern Scotland. Like she's like, I guess like her culture is like she's a Pict. And that's in Great Britain. So and I know that there's Roman, like the Romans, they were in Great Britain a long time ago. So maybe this is, for that reason, I'm really kind of thinking that this is from Hellblade. And that, some of the environments that you're going to get to see are going to be these absolutely drop gorgeous, like Roman ruins. I mean, that's what I'm guessing. I mean, but man, does that look good. I mean, just all the foliage just everywhere. I mean, the grass, each blade of grass, like all the leaves, just everything. I mean, the game just looks absolutely breathtaking. Whatever it is, I want to play it. And if that's Hellblade 2, I need to get over my fear real quick because that just looks stunning. But if I was a betting man, I would say that that's probably Hellblade 2, just from what I kind of understand, and because those destroyed, I guess, old buildings just look so Roman to me.
Yeah, no, I'm going to continue to circle through them. Here's another shot. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. It looked a little Asian to me, this particular. So I don't know where they're going, but I can tell you that this artwork is officially from an artist that works at Ninja Theory. I don't think that that they would strategically drop this for no reason. Like, this didn't just come out of nowhere. So there is something behind.
Did the Romans have gazebos? Maybe that's like an old Roman garden. I don't know.
Who knows? But it's exciting nonetheless. All I can tell you is that right now, the excitement factor for what Microsoft's 15 first-party studios are doing is through the roof. And it is, I cannot wait to see, because you know what? And Kid, I want to bring you in on the conversation because you, my friend, have zero problems going strong against people who try to cut down Xbox. You have no problem with controversy. And one of the things I've seen you go up against is when people say Xbox has no games, right? You're constantly battling that. I think we all are at some point where they're saying, well, I don't really kind of know because I have a backlog that's taller than me and I'm 6 feet. So I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, fine. When you see artwork like this, I'm putting on the screen now. This particular one I was talking about earlier with the orange foliage that's already on the floor, it's on the trees. You got the sun glaring through. If this comes to fruition, and we're getting these types of experiences with these real life type graphics, I think that there's going to be no conversation moving forward that you could possibly have about the Xbox brand, except for the fact that you may want to buy one, because at that point, they're going to have the services, right? We have Xbox Live, the most secure place to play, right? They have Xbox Game Pass, the most generous service of value to any customer ever created, the Netflix of gaming. Project X Cloud is going to change the way that the way the Xbox brand is brought to other countries. And we talked about on Primetime Gaming on how Korea and Japan has the Project X Cloud exploded there, and so much so that now they're offering Xbox Game Pass in those regions. When we start to get these games, Kid, the conversation is completely going to be changed. There's not going to be like, well, it has no games, because they're going to have games. They're going to have the power. They're going to have the services. I think the only conversation, like I said a few seconds ago, is where you're going to find the money, or what PlayStation you're trading in to get the new Xbox. What are your thoughts on these screenshots that I've been cycling through?
Man, I try not to look too much into concept art, because at the end of the day, I mean, these are every developer, every art director that's hired by these studios have like concepts. Now, are these concepts proposed for a new game that they're working on? Is this Hellblade 2 concept? It'll be awesome to see that in like real time. Like, okay, how would this look as like in a video game setting? It'll be nice to see Senua and like a different color variations.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
that's one thing I respected about Rise, is that you got to see its beauty in multiple settings. So its graphics weren't a lie, and people killed me because I did some years back, like I think like a week after the Order came out, I did a graphics comparison video between the Order and Rise and Rome, and compared them for everything. And I gave Rise, I think, the edge because it had more diverse setups, and you could see its graphics like in all like bright, dark, colorful land, and I was able to display that. So I hope we get to see what it looks like. I mean, we got to see what a little pretty much presentation for Hellblade 2 on the graphics that they're aiming for, and just if you were to translate these images there, it'll be crazy. It'll be epic. I'd be surprised if this was a freaking $40 game or a $30 game like how the first one was. But
well, I'm going to say this. I agree with you to the fact where, sometimes you really can't go on concept art. But I will say that if the vision of the artist that's working on either a new IP or, of course, Hellblade, we get to go into areas like this because we've seen one-to-ones before. We saw a lot of that on God of War, where they actually, if you watch some of the documentary, they show one-to-ones with the game and the artwork where it was almost identical. And I think that Ninja Theory as a team, regardless of size, has proven time and time again that they have the talent and the skills and the so-called thinking outside the box mentality to produce something as epic as this. Now, I hate to say this, as much as I want this to be Senua's Saga, right? Hellblade 2. I'm still thinking that's going to remain somewhat in the Viking times. When I saw a lot of this artwork, I hate to say this, I thought Enslaved Odyssey to the West, a sequel to that. Now, I don't know how many people played that. It's currently download. I think it's backwards compatible. I'm almost positive it is. And if you have never played that game, shame on you for skipping it. It is one of Ninja Theory's absolute finest. But I am going to say that regardless of whatever happens, I think the next game from Ninja Theory in Hellblade is going to be something that is going to be a system seller. That's just my opinion, based on the original and based on that December 12th, 2019 Game Awards trailer. I cannot wait to see more of that game. Archimedes, I want to get you in on this conversation. What are your personal thoughts of the artwork I've been cycling through as we're continuing this topic? But more importantly, do you think that there's potentially a new IP that they're working on, that they kind of just wanted to sneak this in here? Or do you think this might actually be a part of Hellblade 2?
Well, I don't think that they are working on an IP we don't know of. Ninja Theory is an amazing studio, but it isn't the biggest one, and they have already announced 2 games they are working on, yeah? Hellblade 2 and Project Mara. I don't think that there is a third one right now in the works. Maybe in a very early concept phase, but nothing we probably would see something. I'm with Kit on this one. I think these kind of concept arts are more like a representative of the capabilities of a certain environment artist or something like that. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it is necessary that these kind of settings will be in Hellblade 2. It could be, though, in some dream sequences or whatever. I don't know. They look fantastic, absolutely, and I think with Hellblade 2, they have a lot of potential now. I mean, Hellblade 1 was done by 20 people and a very small budget. Now you can imagine what they can do with the backing of Microsoft and
yes,
all
that's
the resources.
Great point.
Yeah, resources they have access to now. Yeah. Microsoft has been very vocal about how they try to share technology in between the studios, especially with that Houdini routine they have developed for the Unreal Engine, and as we know, Ninja Theory is using the Unreal Engine. I think there's a lot of potential there, and definitely Hellblade 2 won't be a AA game anymore. This will be a big AAA banger. It will be an absolute showcase. I mean, the trailer we have seen was captured in engine.
Yes.
And I know it does not mean that this is actual gameplay graphics, yeah, but still, if they can bring that engine to this kind of fidelity in the graphics, I think we are absolutely in for a treat.
Well, I mean, listen. Again, we don't know where this is from. It wasn't specifically stated. Regardless of the fact of there was no real telling of where this came from. It excites me as a fan of Ninja Theory. It excites me as a fan of Xbox, and the potential for what the Xbox Series X is going to do is incredibly exciting. Real quick, I just want to announce the winner before we get into the outros. Mr. Kima is the winner of the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Digital Deluxe. I just posted it on Twitter. Mr. Kima, I will be reaching out to you momentarily once the show is over to give you your code. Congratulations. Thanks for everyone who entered the contest. And of course, I have to thank Thomas Lindsay for his outstanding generosity. He actually just went out and bought an Xbox One X and got that game free. And he obviously offered that game to the Xbox Factor podcast as a giveaway. So thank you so much for that, Thomas. Super appreciate it. And of course, let's get to the outros, because like I said, this has been a great show. Some breaking news live on the air. Something I'm probably going to bring forward to tomorrow as soon as we get some more information as to what this glitching on the Xbox.com site really is all about. And I'll start with Kid Smooth. First of all, Kid, thanks so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us, man. It's great to have you on the show. You are definitely someone to watch, especially the way you represent the emerald green. Love what you do on your channel, and of course, love what you do within the community. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can check out your outstanding YouTube channel, but more importantly, follow you on social media.
Yes, man, and I apologize if I've been like toned down, because like my wife is also working from home, so I'm like,
no, it's okay, dude.
Yeah, but you guys can follow me on youtube.com/kidsmove. Check out my Fable video and my Rise video, my Rise 2 video. I'm happy that those topics came up.
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter at kidsmove. I stir up a lot of stuff there, and Twitch at twitch.tv/kidsmove89. I stream games there, and I also stream games on Mixer at mixer.com/IamKidsmove. Thank you, Boom, for having me. It's been great. Hopefully we can get you on Planet Xbox pretty soon.
Yeah, dude, let me know whatever Wednesday coming up you want me to jump on, dude. It'd be my pleasure. Not a problem whatsoever. I look forward to coming and hanging out with your crew and talking some Xbox. Of course, I have to go immediately next to our other guest, I said Kid Smooth. I just said you Kid Smooth. Archimedes, thanks so much for taking the time to be here. I know that right now, I'm not sure what time it is, but it's much later in Germany than it is here in New Rochelle, New York. Thanks so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us and give us your opinion on your favorite platform. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone about your incredible YouTube channel, your latest video, and where people can follow you on social media.
Well, first, thanks again for having me. It's been a blast. It's always a pleasure with Sammy on the podcast. It's been a first time for me with Kid Smooth on our podcast. It's been great, man. You can find me on Twitter at Boxenberger, and the same for my YouTube channel. Today I received the greatest honor. The official Xbox account tweeted out an accolade trailer for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and they cited my review. I was really honored by that.
Nice, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. My latest video, you asked, it's up there on my channel about what are the 15 Xbox game studios up to. And yeah, just add me on Twitter and let's talk gaming. And thanks again for having me.
Dude, it's always great to have you on the show. Really appreciate it. And congratulations. That is pretty awesome that they highlighted your video, dude. And I think that what I'm going to do to kind of push that along is I'm going to add that particular video to the show notes. So if you are interested in hearing his review on Ori and the Ori and the Will of the Wisps, you can just click on the show notes and you're going to see that link. I'm going to add it as soon as I'm done doing the outros. And of course, last and in no way least, someone that has brought real clout to the Xbox Factor podcast, someone that I enjoy working with on a weekly basis, someone that is not afraid to tell it like it is. You can thought I was going to go with Resident Evil, but
yeah, I thought
do me a favor. Yeah. Do me a favor, Zemi. You have an incredible YouTube channel. You have videos, but lots of stuff, lots of different types of content. But it's your instructional videos that I find to be very fascinating, because you talk about things that sometimes people don't know the answer for. But more importantly, I'm proud of you. You posted a delicious homemade pie the other day, and you're getting more active on Twitter. Congratulations for that. Tell everyone where they can follow you. Check out your recipes, but also follow your YouTube channel.
Well, I don't post the recipes. Maybe I should. Maybe more.
I think
people
you
would follow
should.
me
I think
then.
you're onto something here.
Yeah, I've been baking a lot of pies here recently. I don't know what's gotten into me, but yeah, if you guys want to, definitely check out my YouTube channel. It's called Zimmy Games. I do a bunch of gaming content, tutorials, gaming news, reviews, all sorts of just gaming stuff. So definitely check out that YouTube channel if you want. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, where I've been posting a lot of pictures of pie recently, and I also post gaming stuff every now and then. But actually, it's really been kind of dominated by pie here recently. I need to start tweeting other things, I guess. And then also my DMs are always open. So if you heard something on today's show that maybe you liked, maybe you didn't like, always feel free to send me a message. I love interacting with the community, talking to you guys. It's just fantastic. And so thank you so much, Boom. And I think you have one more super chat to go.
Oh man, thank you for that. Because if I would have missed it, I would have
Yeah.
been so mad. Hold on a sec. Let me just jump back over to here.
There you go.
Okay, let's see. Oh man, a good friend of the show, JD Gamer. First of all, dude, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you coming and hanging out, and of course, your outstanding generosity. He says this: "Sorry I missed it live. Thanks for doing what you do. Hit that like button, folks." Well, no, dude, thank you for being here, and you have supported this channel unbelievably since I started. So thank you, JD Gamer. Super appreciate that. And of course, your generosity cannot be denied. Of course, I want to do one more quick shout out before we get on out of here, is to, of course, Lethal Papa. This is a gentleman, this is a community member that does not get the credit that I think he deserves. He is in almost all of the biggest podcasts chats, and he has been tasked by many of us content creators to be the sheriff of the chat, to keep the trolls out, to keep the racists out, to keep the sexists out, and he does an incredible job. And Lethal, I know you're listening, brother. I want to thank you for always being here and supporting me in my endeavors. I don't think the chat would be as great as it is if it wasn't for you in there. So thank you so much for that. So anyway, listen, folks. Right now, I am doing 4 live shows per week. As you know, this is something that I wanted to do as my way is giving back to the community, to add that extra show on Tuesdays to talk about Xbox news. Obviously, the world pandemic as we know it, as COVID-19, has done things to humanity that we've never thought possible. And you know, right now, our escapes from reality are gaming. And of course, listening to podcasts. And I want to let you know that I'm going to continue to push the narrative of community. I want to push, to do these live shows to kind of take people's minds off things. I hope that it's working. I'm hoping I'm doing my small part. But I do want to close out the show with something that my dad taught me when I was a kid. I think it's more prevalent now than it's ever been. And he used to tell me when I was small, he used to say, son, treat people how you want to be treated. And I think that's more important now than it's ever been. And the other thing that he used to say very simplistically was, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. And I think that really something else that goes with what's going on in the world. I want us to come out of this better people, better humans. I don't want us to be separated by race, creed, color, religion, sexual orientation, or anything. I think that when we finally get through this, I want us to all understand that we're all human and that we should all love one another regardless of what I just talked about. But more importantly, and make some fun of this, even if you're a PlayStation guy or gal, if you love Nintendo, if you love Xbox, if you love all three like myself, and you consider yourself a whore master for gaming, which is what I am, be nice to one another. Just because you have a different opinion doesn't make you, you don't have to be an a-hole about it. So I'll close out with the show with that. I want to thank everyone. 413 people showed up today live in the chat. That is big numbers for this very small show. I want to thank everybody for that. Please be safe, show your fellow man love, and of course, hug your loved ones as much as you can. We'll see you next week on the newest episode or the bonus episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Take care, everyone, and have a great week. All right. Sorry about that. Thanks so much for being